Hi, I'm Sennazen, and today we are going to talk about why there is a trend of a lot of people, especially women, leaving the church. This was inspired from when I was in a coaching program this past year. About 100 women or so were in it, and there was a huge, population of us that had just left the church. They were finding that, it wasn't quite giving them the soul nourishment of exactly what they were feeling inside and what they knew was to be true. And first and foremost, in this video, I want you to know that I respect all beliefs, and absolutely nothing that I say is intended to convince you and or disrespect you and your beliefs, and I honor you. Always know that. Thank you. So please, in this video, take what you want, feel into your heart what you know is to be true for you, please, above and beyond, and leave what doesn't, okay? And if this does inspire you, please do subscribe to my channel. I am starting out, and I have some big messages that I really am called to share. I'm going to name first and foremost that I have probably procrastinated for at least a year and a half on starting this channel and sharing these deep things, honestly, because I've been scared. But sitting in meditation today, it became very clear that this was the topic, this is the video, this is the time, and here I am. So first and foremost, I want to share a bit about my background. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I'm in the United States, and I grew up Catholic for the first third of my life. And my family, my father was actually kicked out of the Catholic Church when I was 12 because he was working really hard for us as a family, as a provider for our family, and on Sundays he didn't always attend. So the priest from that church actually told us that we could no longer come. So simultaneously at that time in our neighborhood down the street, there was a church that was being built, and it was actually more of a progressive Christian church. And so my family went to that. So it's kind of like the ones where you can wear flip-flops and you can wear shorts, and you didn't have to be, dressed up to the T, every Sunday, for a 3-hour mass. It was more laid back and beautiful people, for sure. I lost my faith, though. I was beginning to question a lot in my preteen years, around 13, 14, and I had deep questions, and a lot of the people that I went to, they didn't either give me answers or they legitimately told me not to question. And at the time, I was also going to another church with friends from school. I was in a youth group, and this particular church really didn't do too well with following the Christ way. I'm just going to put it that way. There was a lot of misalignment, a lot of, judgments, and there, unfortunately, I got to see firsthand where a lot of these quote unquote stereotypes come from when people are feeling judged, when they're feeling excluded, when they are pushed away from the church, when and that was an unfortunate experience. And I personally had an experience where I was questioning, I was really looking for answers, and there was this one evening where there was this guest priest that came in, and he was just pretty much coming around to people, and a third of the church spoke in tongues, but it didn't feel pure for me in my heart and my body. And he would come around and he would put his hand on me and be like, "You're slain with the Spirit." And I remember even being like 14 years old. I'm like, get your hand off me. Like, no. And so I was really struggling. I had all these questions. And then this particular night, I, this guy, this priest was going around and he was saying, calling people out, and it's like, the power of Christ within me, you're going to be saved and you're no longer going to have your seizures, to like 11-year-old boy who had epilepsy, and to a woman that had, you know, a heart condition. And it was just this like theatrical experience. And at one point, my dear friend and I, we went up to worship, and when we went up to the front, I just remember so vividly that the guest priest came over to her and was like, young girl, I see that you've been questioning God in your heart, and he's working through me today, and he's telling me that you have to play the piano. You have to, that's the way that you're going to honor God. And I just remember in that moment, I had this experience of like, what about me? And it was that night where I felt the first time of this separation. I'm going to call it that. Separation from God, because I felt betrayed, and I felt just like my questions weren't getting answered, and I didn't have that. And so just a little bit more about my history was from there. I went, you know, through a phase, and I think a lot of people do, and I think this is a really important part of the Christian journey, of, you know, whatever faith that you walk, having the time in your life where you feel, you know, separate from God, or feel the anger, or feel the betrayal, or because that's actually a really potent time in figuring out who you actually are and who you are not. And you find out who you are through going through the valley of figuring out who you are not. So I went through a very rebellious time, okay? And it took me about 6 to 7 years of going through and working through this pain and this hurt and this anger and my rebellious ways. And it was in my early 20s, I actually found yoga. And in yoga, I found my breath, and then I found my body. Like, what does that mean? It's like, yeah, here's my body, but like, so many of us are living in our mental faculties that we may not even be able to like close your eyes for a second and like wiggle your toes, like feel the bottom of your feet, feel your bottom, your sits bones, where they meet contact wherever you're sitting, whether it's a chair or a couch or a car or your bed. Like so many of us don't even really feel or tune into our bodies. And so I was learning what it's like to fully be in my body through breath, through movement. And then I found meditation, and I actually found a book called Start Where You Are by Pema Chodron, and she's actually a Buddhist monk. And through that, I like had just so many of my perceptions change. Like it was like earth shattering for me to be able to piece apart and understand what was my emotion versus my thoughts, and also actually realize that I'm not my emotions. I am not my thoughts. I experience them, but it's not who I am. And that was a huge part in my development as becoming self-aware in my mindfulness journey. And I just became so thirsty and like for spiritual understanding. And so I started getting into yoga and understanding the yogic principles of the chakra systems. And I started learning about, I became like a yoga teacher. And so then I started practicing meditation, and I had huge experiences in my meditations where I've had like full on visions and full on like just like the best word I can say is they're called downloads of information, of just like the Holy Spirit. This is my now words, but the Holy Spirit just showing me and bathing me in this like truth and this understanding. And not only was it profoundly healing, but it's completely shaped my perceptions, and also who I am. And I started to have new understandings even before I returned to reading the Bible, before I returned to like that. I just had these understandings of like who Jesus was, that he was a beautiful being that came to earth, that showed the way of love in the darkest time of humanity, quite literally. I won't talk about that right now, but we have 4 phases in which we cycle through, and in the darkest time of humanity, that is when Jesus, or Yeshua is how I connect with him, came to earth, and he showed a path to love. And not even just that, like his journey of dying created a path through the, how do I say it, through the portal of death, so that we may also have a path to ourselves, back to God. And that is so profoundly beautiful. And so I first want to say that what I'm alluding to is I've done a 360, okay, in my beliefs and being raised and then coming back, because as I was having these understandings through my meditations, through, visions, and through my own, reclamation of my body, I started to read more and more and more. And first I was actually reading other texts because I really wanted to understand other beliefs. I was really interested in Buddhism, and I was really interested in India and the yogic and Hinduism, and I was really interested in Taoism and Sufism. And then I found myself learning more about Eastern traditions, and like an acupuncture and some of the Chinese philosophies, and then I just started to like see, like, wow, there's actually some really beautiful fundamentals here that completely overlap across all of these beliefs. And there's a book, what's it called? The Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Myss, or Mice. I never actually said that loud. That I love what she did. She took the chakra system from the India beliefs and the yogic tradition. She took the Judaism tree of life, and then she took the Christian, what is it? The commandments of the Testament. She took all 3 of them, and she was able to show how they overlap and how they're all essentially saying similar things. And so I found it so incredibly beautiful that so many of these beliefs have this beautiful overlap. Okay, and so I want to name that above and beyond, that it's so important to honor each other's beliefs and perspectives and cultures, because we are different, and it is such a human thing to think that, or be scared of something or someone that is different from you. But really, truly, deep down, when you get into the values and when you get into like the true core humanity, like, we're all the same. We're all the same. One of my philosophies is we all carry a piece of the puzzle. We all carry a piece of the truth. We all have a different perspective of the whole. And that is the truth. That's what I believe. So I name all of that to say that in present day, we are seeing so many people, when I use the word awakening, because this experience that they have in the church, whether that's Mormon or Jehovah, or what if it's Catholicism or Christian, and all the different branches and stuff of Orthodox and Protestant, like people are feeling something deeper within them happening. That there is a deeper love and a deeper truth that expands beyond what they are learning and what they are taught in the church. And in part of my studies, it was really important to me to actually learn more about the history of Jesus and of the Bible, and also like where the Bible like how it came to be. And it was really important to me. So one of my biggest books that I read was the Mary Magdalene Revealed by Megan Watterson, The First Apostle, Her Feminine Gospel, and the Christianity We Haven't Tried Yet. What I thought was beautiful about that is Mary Magdalene has been seen in the Catholic Church as a prostitute. Oh, you look in the Bible and she is named as a prostitute. She's told, her story is that Jesus cleared out all the demons from her, and that is not true. And part of the history is like about 425 after Christ's death, there was a rewrite of the Bible. There was taking out gospels, one of them being Mary Magdalene's gospel. She used to be a minister. Women used to be ministers. And she has a gospel, and there's others like the Gospel of Thomas and the story of Thecla. Like, there was so many powerful women that those stories were removed from the Bible. And me being a little girl and learning about how it's essentially Eve's fault for the damnation of humanity because she ate an apple, and Adam blames her and does not take responsibility for his own actions, is the greatest portrayal of a distorted truth that has and reaped repercussions across this religion and into our world, into how our patriarchal society and culture and global experience has become. Like, it's so important as a woman to be able to see other women figures in their empowerment so that you can rise and be your most empowered self. And in my experience, through my upbringing in the Catholic Church and in the Christian Church, you're not taught that. You're not taught that. And in my experience too, I never saw a woman speaking up on the stage. And I mean, we have half the population of women being unrepresented. And like, I give absolutely no like shade or judgment to the amazing men that, that are priests, that are preachers, and because there are incredible sacred masculine men that speak and hold and embody the truth so beautifully. But what's also fascinating is that a man's truth and a man's journey, and I'm just speaking in binary, I want you to know I am very aware of all genders, and I apologize for using exclusive language at this moment, but in this moment I'm just going to say a man's journey is vastly different from a woman's journey in spiritual growth, because what a lot of the Bible's teachings really is talking about is an egoic death. And that is the journey of a man, because he comes in, he's already got the ego. This is how I'm going to do this. I have this like visualization in my head. Okay? Like he has to rise up and learn himself, as part of the tribe. He has to learn about who he is separate from the tribe. He has to like figure out what is true for him and himself and his own confidence and his own values. And then he needs to rise into a place of love. And this is actually going up the chakra systems, okay? And in that place is the dissolving of an ego. And vastly different is the woman's journey, is we're actually not egoic in nature. We have this beautiful connection to spirit, this beautiful connection to God, this beautiful connection to, such, to life, to being able to feel and see and smell, and our cycles are connected to the moon, and our experience, actually is about us descending into the body, reclaiming our wombs, reclaiming our power as women. And that is not represented in the church. And that is why so many women are going through their own journey, their own valley, through themselves, of reclamation, of figuring out who they are and their power, and reclaiming themselves. And what's so beautiful about the masculine and feminine is when they do meet in this heart space, okay? That is union. That is sacred marriage. That is true understanding. And it's from both of these like moving energies, these journeys, okay, into ourselves. That's where we connect with God. That's where we know ourselves. And every single person, regardless of your gender, has both masculine and feminine energies. And we get to play and be with that, and a huge part of the journey. Oh man, I wish I had the verse on hand. I just read it the other day. But it's essentially like when the two become one. When the two become one, that is when you know. That's when you are no longer of just this earth. You're aware of the kingdom of God. That is why the sacred union and marriage, the sacred union when you have intercourse, I don't want to be censored. It's in that climatic experience where you remember your pure, true, high vibrational self. And everyone, whether or not you are I'm a single mother, and like in my own journey, I have been finding my own reclamation of my body, but also my own masculine and my own feminine. And I am a teacher of sovereignty, and this is a huge piece of that. What is sovereignty? Sovereignty is knowing about who you are, reclaiming yourself in body, spirit, mind, heart, soul, womb. And shedding away the perceptions, the projections, the expectations, the constructs that are placed upon you in a society that we've grown up in, and that we've been just, inundated with information of who we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to look, how we're supposed to speak, who we're supposed to work for. You want to keep going? You want to keep going? What we're supposed to believe, even the whole American dream stuff of this is the model of, you go to school, you rack up student loan debt, you go get married, you don't need to do anything with your degree. What? I'm just kidding. You have babies, you have a domestic life, you get a house, you get a car, you work till you have retirement, you save up, you don't spend anything, and then you die. No! No! That's an example of a construct. That's an example of multi-level societal and familial and ancestral programming that is not true for everyone. So I think some of the biggest distortions that I've experienced in my background of being in the Catholic Church and even in the Christian Church is, one, the underrepresentation of Mary Magdalene in a woman. In order to have a society that's in harmony, we need equal representation. We need empowered women. We need men that are less aggro, more in their hearts. Men that also listen to the women. Women that listen to themselves. Women that can set boundaries, that can take up space, that take care of themselves first. And that's a huge thing in our society that we don't see, that isn't a norm. We're taught as young girls to take care of others and to take on the emotions or be the mediator or do the housework. No. So part of sovereignty is you get to define yourself and you get to be your own unique self. You call the shots. So back to the whole point of this whole video. When I was in this coaching program, this past year, and many of these women were either already transitioned out of their former religion beliefs, or there were currently, and they were in this dissolvement, they were in the unraveling, they were in the figuring out who they are, what they truly believe, because they were told all their lives what they were supposed to believe. And there's this one woman that brought up how she was speaking with a friend, and someone pointed out that why is it such a trend? It's trendy to leave the church now. And it's not that it's trendy. It's not oh, it's cool to leave. It's, yes, on the outside looking out, there is a trend happening. Yeah. But these people, these women, these men, my beautiful non-binary folks, that, I can feel some of you, that have been also underrepresented, that have also been excluded, from the church and condemned. No, we know in our bodies and our wombs and our hearts and our truth and our that's not true. That's not true. My God is a God of love and only love. And I won't get into the topic of the darkness today, but we will talk. But that is my truth. And it's all inclusive. And it's absolutely beautiful. The journey of being able to choose and say no more to a construct or an organization or a community or a religion that is truly not in alignment with our values and our authentic self. Because when you make that choice, no matter how long it takes, it might take years too, and I want to honor that. But when you make that choice too, you're choosing yourself. You're choosing your true, beautiful, like authentic self. And it is intense, and it is, boy, oh boy, the grieving and the loss of community, been there, of people, been there, of the masks that you've worn, been there. The ego dissolvement of who you were pretending to be for years, maybe most of your life, been there. Like, it's a beautiful and painful, sometimes excruciating process of crumbling and sorting and sifting out, like, what is shimmery and what is glimmery and what is true. Because at the end of the day, like, I would consider myself like a mystic Christian. If I was to be honest, I wholeheartedly love Yeshua and wholeheartedly love Mary Magdalene and wholeheartedly love Mother Mary and Anna, grandmother of Jesus, whom you never hear about other than Saint Anne in the Catholic Church. And what's beautiful is you get to choose. You get to choose what that looks like, how you celebrate your holidays, what values are yours for you and your family. You get to choose and find, the practices that make you feel whole. And for me personally, like, my sanctuary is nature. My sanctuary is meditation, being in my body. My sanctuary is movement and dance and yoga. My sanctuary is also my bed. So I just, if you're on this journey, I just want to commend you. I commend you so much, because it's a powerful, potent journey of unraveling and reclaiming who you are. And it's so liberating, and it's so beautiful, and it's so powerful, and it will make waves, and it is disruptive, but not all disruptiveness is bad. It's not. Not all chaos is bad. You need chaos. It's a part of the nature of order, like of the world. Like, you have chaos and you have order, and that's a part of evolution. That's a part of movement. That's growth. That's experience. That's wisdom. That's becoming more and more and more of who you truly are. And what I think is so beautiful is that, how do I say this? people are awakening everywhere. It's global. It's not just Catholicism. It's not just it is a movement of awakening into our true selves. And I am a fan of astrology, and it is the Aquarian age. And that's a huge piece of that. I'm not talking about that in this video though, but it's time. It's time. And I would like to extend an offer. I have one-on-one sessions. If you would ever like to do some spiritual exploration, I offer mentorships, and I also offer paintings where I take your intentions, or even and it could also be something you're letting go, something you're moving through, okay? And I can take a few of your your pictures. You fill out like a form or whatever, you do this, and then I take a few. You send me a few pictures, and I take those and I weave them into a piece where you're able to see your divine self. And I also work with your higher self, and I can channel messages and for on the back of your painting, so that you can have that reminder and that treasure for your altar, or yourself in your living room or whatever, so that you can have that reminder every day of who you are and the authentic self that you are, and the powerful, multidimensional, radically loving being that you are. I also have the Self-Love and Inner Unity Oracle deck on my Etsy shop, and I'll post all those below. I love you so much, and I hope that this video was helpful for someone out there. I am just beginning this journey, and so please, if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.